You've got your idea, you've got your script, you've got your shot list, you've got your storyboard, you've got everything ready. Now it's time to make your film. Just before you start making your film, we're going to look at what we call the pre-production process. This is where we get everything ready just to make sure that we've got everything secured and safe so that your filming goes as smoothly as possible. Using what you have available to you is one of the easiest ways to make your film. It'll mean you've got less things to worry about and you know that you can focus on telling your story without worrying about where you're going to find a certain prop from that's really hard to get hold of, or that you haven't got enough actors to play all the characters that you've written. What locations can you easily and freely get hold of? Can you find somewhere that's a little bit different, but make sure if you do so that it's safe and that you've got full permission from the owner of the location. If you're younger, you'll need to have an adult with you to make sure that you get permission appropriately for the location. Can you borrow or make your own props? Have you created your script with the making of in mind? You can always go further, be ambitious, try to get something unique, but it's useful to keep things simple when you're starting out just so that you can master the basics. I'm going to talk very quickly about locations. You need to be sure where you're filming is safe for not just you, but the whole team of people that's working with you. If you're a younger filmmaker, you'll need to have an adult with you if you're away from your house or your school. Check the safety risks and make sure you're not on somebody else's property. If you like the look of a location and it matches your script or something that you need, you can contact the owner and hopefully they'll give you permission to film there. Again, if you're a younger filmmaker, you should always ask for these permissions with the help of an adult. Above all, make sure you find somewhere safe that you can unleash your creativity. You wouldn't want something to happen unexpected that stops you from filming after all the planning and work that you've done. Some very basic ground rules for filming in public. This is really important. If you're filming in a public place, you'll need to make sure that you don't capture the faces of members of the public. If you do, you'll need to ask their permission and get them to sign what we call a release form to give their permission to appear in your film. This is less of a problem if they're blurry in the background or if they're facing away from the camera. It's using your common sense and being cautious. If you need to approach a member of the public and you're under 16, or you need to get permission for a location, for example, always do this with the support of an adult. Remember, it's best to be safe and not assume anything. If you're not feeling confident about being out and about as you start out as a filmmaker, that's fine. It's probably best to stay with a safer, controllable location that you know you're not going to get disturbed on or capture anyone in the background of. I mentioned release forms before. These are really useful for you to have and print out. You can download draft copies from the internet, and they're just a little piece of paperwork that explains to the person you're filming what the project is, and they give their consent to appear within your film. Always take care, and safety is the priority. The last thing to say before we start talking about the filming process is it's probably a good idea to keep a checklist or a to-do list and tick things off as you get them done. Once they're all ticked off, you're ready to start your movie making. So, you're on location now, you've got everything you need, you've got your kit, you've got your crew, you've got your actors. Let's talk about what we do to get ready to start rolling the cameras. It's good to refresh your memory, look over the script, look over the shot lists, and get your actors in position. You can get them to rehearse and talk through the lines and talk through the actions so that they know exactly where they need to be and what they need to do in each shot. With your camera in hand or set up on a tripod, it's now time to check your framing and your positioning. Look through the viewfinder or look at your phone camera screen and make sure that the lens is capturing the shot that you want it to as you've designed on your storyboards and your shot lists. You can change your mind at this stage if you want to. If it's not quite working how you imagined, that's absolutely fine. As we said right from the start, it's good to go in with a plan, but always remember that the plan can change. When you've got your camera set up, have a look at the framing and look at where the characters are positioned. Is there anything that you think would be better? Can you move the camera a little bit closer here to capture some of the action more? Or do you want to take it a little bit further away so you can see more of the movement from the characters? It's up to you. When you've got everything ready, it's time to start rolling the cameras and calling the shots. Now, if you're a minimal film crew, you may have just yourself as the filmmaker or director, or possibly 2 or 3 other people. If you're a one-person filmmaking team, the director, then you can call the shots yourself. Here's an example of how you could do this and feel like a pro film crew. As the filmmaker or director, the first thing you'd say is, stand by, quiet on set. This just alerts everyone to know that filming is about to begin and you're about to press record. At this point, press record on your mobile device or camera. You then say the words, camera is rolling, and give yourself a couple of seconds just so you've got a bit of room to edit within your footage before you start filming the action itself. Once those couple of seconds have passed, you can then shout the word action. The action will then unfold, the actors will perform their scene, you'll move the camera as you intend, and then once that's completed, you can shout the word cut. At that point, you can press stop on the camera. It's a good idea at this point to look back at what you've just filmed, review the footage, check if you're happy. If you're not happy with what was captured, you can talk to the actors and tell them what you'd like them to do differently. Or if it's something that the camera's done that you're not quite happy with, you can refilm the shot for that reason too. This will be called going for another take. You repeat the process again as before, and once you're happy, you can then move on to the next shot on your shot list and tick off the one you've completed. You then keep going in this process until you've captured everything. It might be that between certain shots you need to move the camera to a different part of your location or move to an entirely new location completely. When you've got everything completed and all of your shots, you'll then have what we call a wrap, which is all of the filming finished. Now the main difference here would be if you had a smaller film crew instead of just you as the director or filmmaker. If this is the case, you'd have the director calling the shots and the camera operator responding, and this is how we do that. So the director, as before, would call standby, quiet on set to alert everybody. You then give people a moment to settle down. At that point, you then say to the camera operator, roll camera. The camera operator presses record on the device and says, camera is rolling. Give yourself a few seconds of the camera rolling before you start, and then call action if you're the director. As before, let the action and the scene run, let the actors perform their scene, move the camera as you would, or keep it still if you need to, and then call cut. At that point, you can press stop on the camera. And like before, review the footage. If you're happy, move on to the next one. If not, you can reset and do it again until you're happy. It's worth pointing out that different crews will have different ways of running the set, but hopefully for you as an early filmmaker or a first-time filmmaker, this will be a really basic and simple way of keeping things moving and making sure everyone understands what they need to do. And with that, you're now ready to shoot your film. So go out there, use the techniques we've talked about in this video for pre-production and your filming. The last thing to say is good luck. I hope your filming goes well and I hope that you capture everything you need. Don't forget, you can look back at this video session or you can skip back to the previous video sessions as a reminder of all the things you'll need for the basics of filmmaking. Our next session is going to be editing, so once you've got your footage all captured, we can talk about how you bring that all together and get your finished film.